We had record issuance from emerging markets last year. We've had some announcements already this year. What's the outlook for the 2018 year?
Thank you very much, Mark. Yes, as you said, last year, 2017, was a stellar year for emerging markets. We had record volumes of bond issuance from this area, and it looks like this year it is set to continue. We don't know yet whether we are going to reach the same level of issuance, but this week was busy with announcement. We had Mexico pricing the first emerging market sovereign bond, then Argentina followed. Now we have Oman meeting investors in London this week, and there will be more announcement starting on Monday.
How big is the demand right now, Lyubov, for these types of bonds?
The demand is really big, and again, it's continuing from the same story last year. Mexico was almost 5 times subscribed, so we had investors bidding about $15 billion for that issue. Then when Argentina came the following day, it was twice covered, and we had investors from 450 different investors, most of them from North America. So we see that demand is still very huge.
What are the risks for investors, Lyubov? We know, obviously, Venezuela is a huge risk.
There are broader market risks. Investors will be watching the Fed, what happens to the rate hikes. It will be watching the ECB bond buying program. And there are particular risks to each and every issuer, each and every country. For example, there are such situations when issuers miss interest payments. For example, this happened in Venezuela with its state-owned company, which missed interest payments, and on a sovereign level in Africa, it happened to Mozambique last year, and investors are still waiting to hear how this bond will be restructured.
Yeah, and I suppose to some extent they're unusual situations or one-off situations, but that's, I guess, until it happens again. How are investors looking at post-restructuring debt?
Investors are taking notice of what happened in the past, but we're also seeing a lot of interest to countries that have been through restructuring. For example, Argentina, which had a massive default and then came back to the market big time and is issuing in large volumes and is planning to issue again this year. And for example, most recently we had Ukraine, which restructured $15 billion worth of debt 2 years ago, and it came back to the market as promised last year and was hugely subscribed and is planning to come again.